Described as a visionary thinker with rare intellect, Simon Sinek teaches leaders and organizations how to inspire people. A trained ethnographer, Sinek is fascinated by the people and organizations that make the greatest lasting impact on the world. Over the years, he's discovered some remarkable patterns about how people think, act, and communicate, and the environments in which people operate at their natural best. Most known for popularizing the concept of Start With Why, his talk on this topic is the third most watched talk on TED.com of all time. A New York Times best-selling author, Sinek is author of Find Your Why, Leaders Eat Last, and his latest book, The Infinite Game. Let's welcome Simon Sinek to the summit stage.
You have to have trusting teams. What does that look like? I stayed at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas. It is a beautiful hotel. And the reason it is a beautiful hotel is not because of the fancy beds. Any hotel can buy a fancy bed. It's because of the people who work there. That when you roam the halls of the Four Seasons and people say hello to you, you get the distinct feeling that they wanted to say hello, not that they were told to say hello. We can tell the difference. We're highly attuned social animals. We can tell the difference. It's like you can always tell when someone's commission-driven, right? Because you can feel it. Same thing. They happen to have a coffee bar in the lobby. And so one afternoon, I went and bought myself a cup of coffee, and the barista that day was a kid named Noah. Noah was funny. He was engaging. I spent far too long standing there buying a cup of coffee because I was having such a nice time talking to Noah. So as is my nature, I asked Noah, "Do you like your job?" And without skipping a beat, Noah says, "I love my job." Now, in my line of work, that is very significant. There's a difference between like and love. Like is rational. I like the people, I like the challenge, I make good money, I like my job. Love is emotional. Do you love your wife? I really like her. I asked you if you love your wife. I told you I like her a lot. It's a different standard. One's emotional. Noah said, "I love my job." Very significant. So immediately I followed up. I said, "Tell me specifically what the Four Seasons is doing that you would say to me you love your job." Without skipping a beat, Noah said, "Throughout the day, managers will walk past me and ask me how I'm doing. Not just my manager, any manager." And then he said, "I also work at Caesar's Palace. And there, the managers walk past us and make sure that I'm doing everything right and catch us if we're doing something wrong. He says, there I like to keep my head below the radar and just get through my day and cash my paycheck at the end of the day. Only at the Four Seasons do I feel I can be myself." This is the exact same human being. And if I had met him at the other job, I can tell you that my customer service experience would have been profoundly different. Not because of the person, because of the leaders. Leaders are responsible for creating an environment in which people feel they can be their best selves. All the time, I can't tell you how often I get the question, "Simon, how do we get the most out of our people?" They're not a towel that we wring. It is a flawed question that even if you get the right answers, you're going to get the wrong direction. The correct question to ask is, how do I create an environment in which my people can work at their natural best? If you can do that, you will produce something called trusting teams. Trusting teams is an environment in which people feel safe enough to raise their hand and say, "I made a mistake." They can say, "I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. You promoted me into a job that I don't feel qualified. I need more training. I'm having trouble at home. It's affecting my work. I'm scared." Without any fear of humiliation or retribution, without any fear that revealing that weakness, that vulnerability, will put them on some short list for the next round of layoffs. In fact, they have every confidence that if they were to say any of those things, both their colleagues and their bosses would rush to their aid. That is what a trusting team looks like, and that is what a trusting team feels like. As somebody once said to me working in a corporation, I couldn't even think about what good leadership looked like, but I can tell you what bad leadership felt like. If you do not have trusting teams, what you do have is a group of people who show up to work every single day, lying, hiding, and faking. Any mistake that they make, they bury for fear of getting humiliated or find themselves on some short list. If they don't know what they're doing, they're certainly not going to tell you. They're going to hoard information instead of sharing it for fear that if they share what they know, it will make them vulnerable if somebody younger and cheaper comes in. They're not going to admit that they're having trouble at home that's affecting their work, and they're certainly not going to tell you they're scared or need your help. That will be your company, and that will be your culture. And over the course of time, things will break. I was flying on a business trip, and a scene played out in front of me where one of the passengers attempted to board the aircraft before their group number was called, which, as we all know, is a felony. And that is exactly how the gate agent treated him. "Step aside, sir. I haven't called your group yet. Please step aside and wait till I call your group," is exactly how she talked to a paying customer. So I spoke up. I said, "Why do you have to talk to us that way? Why can't you talk to us like we're human beings?" And she looked me in the eye and said, "Sir, if I don't follow the rules, I could get in trouble or lose my job." All she revealed to me is that she does not feel safe in her own organization, and her leaders do not trust her to do the job for which she's been trained to do. And guess who suffers? Customer and company. She's more preoccupied with protecting herself from her own company than she is helping the customer protect themselves from whatever's going on in the outside world. Her preoccupation is herself, not us, not the company. The reason we love flying Southwest Airlines, for example, is not because they have some magical formula to hire all the best people. It's because the people who work there feel safe in their own organizations and feel that their leaders trust them to do the jobs for which they've been trained to do. We do not trust people to follow rules. We trust people to know when to break them. We trust people to be aware of the infinite game, and even though they are given finite targets and finite roles to play, I know that that gate agent had to get that plane out on time. That is a finite game. There's a beginning, middle, and end, and once it's done, she'll do it again. I understand that, but it's in the context of the infinite game. That airline hopes to keep in business for as long as possible, if not forever, if possible. And if they are not aware of the infinite game, that means they will treat us poorly to get their goals achieved, as opposed to treating us well because they know that we'll recommend them and fly them again and talk about our great experiences versus our bad experiences. The infinite game is bigger than simply making the goal. It's about being able to sustain the will and resources to stay in the game for as long as possible. You have to have teams that trust each other and trust their leadership. Number two,